Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. I'm
with
doing it
not
very mellow.
with the not episode of the
I
set.
know, right? Doesn't happen very often. Uh,
No,
but we are excited that we get the opportunity to talk about the return of CPR Fest. It's going to be happening April 2nd on the grounds of the Coast Coliseum. I mean, going old school, man. The grounds of the Coast Coliseum. And the cool thing about the whole thing is there's going to be a homegrown stage. And the cool thing about that is Jared and I have been blessed.
there you go.
Some would call it a blessing. Some would call it a curse.
But we figured that part of it out.
Of selecting three of the bands that will be on the homegrown stage at CPR Fest. So we kind of want to break it down on how we're going to do it. But first, we're going to let Jared go ahead and, even though it's not an episode, we got to stay consistent.
That's
So
right. You're
we're
watching.
we're going to talk about the CPR Fest homegrown stage, and you're watching the sound.
It just feels more official, Kevin. It just feels way more official.
It does. It does. It does. It does. But that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the CPR Fest homegrown stage, the way that the bands are going to be selected, and we're going to talk just briefly about the return of CPR Fest. And there you see it: Three Doors Down, Seether, Bad Flower, Non-Point, Dead Poets Society, Giovanni, and the Hired Guns. That is all the main stage at CPR Fest this year. CPR Fest 20 happening April 2nd. Grounds of the Coast Coliseum. Tickets are on sale this coming Friday, as a matter of fact. So I'm super excited about it, not only because I've been a part of a lot of CPR Fests and it's so much fun. And being back to old school out on the grounds of the Coliseum with two stages, it's just going to be fun to watch, fun to just be a part of again. It's going to be a good time.
Anybody that's from the local music scene around here who's been around for a little bit definitely remembers CPR Fest and what it means to the Gulf Coast and the music scene around here. I mean, Kevin, you probably remember better than most. I mean, the homegrown stage has seen acts on it before. Like I would think Three Doors started out on the homegrown stage, right? I know 12 did.
Yeah,
or a version of the homegrown stage.
Right. So always CPR has always been nice. And they've always had at least one local band open up the show. There were a couple years where there was a second stage and it was strictly just the homegrown stage. And I'm trying to, like, the Friday Night Gigolos that played on there. Adam Ship, After Human was a band out of Slidell that played on there. A lot of bands have played on that homegrown stage and been a part of CPR Fest, and I'm glad that they're going to keep the tradition going. When they're bringing back CPR Fest. But the cool thing is, so the homegrown stage is going to consist of 5 bands. Now, 2 bands have been pre-selected already before we were given the opportunity to fill it in with 3 bands. So there are 2 bands, and all the bands that will be playing will be announced on the Homegrown show on February 6th. It'll be an off Sunday. It'll be one of those Sundays that's not supposed to be a homegrown show, but we're going to do a homegrown show. So that way we can get enough time, because the cool thing about this is the radio station is actually you're going to hear several promos on this. So you're going to have a promo for CPR Fest with the main bands and all of that. And it'll talk about the CPR Fest homegrown stage. But then you're going to have a separate promo that runs that's strictly for the homegrown stage, where the 5 bands that are on that stage are going to be getting their own promos, their own mentions and everything, just being blasted. Bands. So the way that when the selection process is done, unfortunately, it's just the way it works. There are going to be some bands that aren't going to be able to play CPR Fest, but we have found a way, and we've worked with the radio station, and we will be able to have some of those bands playing CPR Fest pre-parties, CPR Fest after party. So most of these bands, as much as we can, are going to be involved in CPR Fest one way or the other. So it's pre-parties, after party, the actual homegrown stage. So everybody's going to be getting a ton of promotion no matter what, which is a good thing. So what we basically did was we've asked you to do something very simple. You're going to send us your best MP3, the song that you think is the song for you guys and for your band, and you email it to us at thesound228@gmail.com.
One song,
MP3.
One song.
And here's how it's going to work. We're going to gather all of these songs up. We're going to try to do a Spotify playlist. And I know some bands don't have a Spotify. They sent us some stuff, but they don't have a Spotify. We've got that figured out too. But Jared and I are not the ones making the selection of these bands. We're just grouping it together, and then we're sending it off to 3 different people. And I'll tell you who the people are, because not only are they going to be the ones that grades every band off of their MP3 and their production and sound and all of that, they're going to turn around and they're going to grade everybody. And the 3 bands with the highest score is going to be the bands that make it. It's going to be that simple. But I will tell you that the 3 people that are making the choices are pretty decent people that you're going to be happy that your music's getting in front of to begin with.
They're aware that you're sharing their names. You already talked to them about this?
No, I asked them if they'd be part of it, and they said yes. So,
okay.
But maybe I want. Well, anyways, so one of the guys that's going to be helping us out, MVK Music Group out of Orlando, Maverick Music Group. He will be one of the guys. Brian, the owner, will actually be one of the guys helping us make the selections. The second guy is Justin Reimer, the former guitarist of 12 Stones and Breaking Point, and now has a studio up in North Mississippi. And he will be one of the ones helping make the selection. And then the third one will be Chris Dawson. Chris Dawson is the producer who has produced Saul and Any Given Sin. Worked with Love to Hate recently.
Former guest of the show.
He's also the guitarist for the band Season After. So he will be helping make the selection of those bands. So not only are you getting an opportunity to play the CPR Fest Homegrown Stage, you're getting an opportunity to get this music out in front of music professionals within the industry that have helped bands make that next step and move up. And some of the comments I got from one of the guys was they want to do it because there may be somebody in there they'd like to grab up and work with. So you never know what's going to happen out of all of this. So that I wanted to make sure that we knew that, or that you guys knew, that Jared and I are not making this selection. We are just the hub for the music to come to, and we are sending it out.
We could have, but Kevin's no stranger to this type of to be in this position or this type of controversy, and he was definitely willing to take it head on. But he did craft this idea. I'll give him credit, and it's a good one because, like he just said, not only does the music you get a shot at playing the homegrown stage, but it will be in front of some people who are heavily involved in the industry, right? So, everybody, obviously we want everybody to get picked, but there's 3 slots. And I know there's already more than 3 people or 3 bands that have sent us in music. So some people aren't going to make it. And like Kevin said, there's some other opportunities with the pre-parties and the after parties. Hopefully we can spread it out as much as we can. But worst case scenario, you still know that your music got played in front of some people who are making moves and recording some bands that are really doing, some impressive stuff right now.
Yeah. So,
and managing other ones with the music group.
Right. So that's where we stand. That's how the selection will be made. And once again, the announcement of the bands will be made February 6th on the Homegrown show. So, but yeah, Jared is absolutely correct. I've been a part of several different ways of making the selection of how I hated for it. CPR Fest.
You've been hated for it, loved for it.
And I'm probably still hated at some point. But here's the criteria. And this was the one thing that Kenny Vest, the operations manager for CPR, was very, very particular about, that it needs to be a Mississippi Coast band. or Mississippi Coast bands. And we know that trust me. And we went to bat, and this is what the radio station wants. As far as we could get was, if you have a member that lives in coastal Mississippi, you can submit. So that's kind of where we sat on that. So if you, like, I know there's some bands that they have members that are in Louisiana and one member in Mississippi. Yeah, they qualify because they have a member that lives in South Mississippi. So there is that opportunity for some of the bands outside of the coastal Mississippi, as long as there's a member on coastal Mississippi that lives and resides in coastal Mississippi, we'll be able to take your submission and send it off and be a part of all of that.
And Kevin, that's mainly for the Homegrown Stage at CPR Fest, right? Is it? Yeah. And I'm asking you, we haven't even talked about. Is it possible maybe we can move that needle a little bit on the pre-party or after-party stuff?
Oh, I'm sure that we can probably do that. Just got to make sure that, but
that's cool.
That it's cool and everything. Because I will tell you this. What excites me the most about this is a station with a festival like CPR has entrusted us to help make those decisions on bands that are going to play on a stage at their festival. We're not total outsiders, but for them to say, "Hey, we're going to do," and it may be the beast of burden. You know, they didn't want to do that. They didn't want to make the selection, so that
send them to the slaughter.
So let's put Kevin there again.
Yeah, Kevin will do it. He hasn't learned his lesson yet. Send him in. He'll do it.
So no, but that was actually part of the conversation when I was in the office about this and us helping make the selections and everything. Kenny was like, I know you've been beaten up pretty good about it, but we all just laugh about it here at the studio, at the station anymore. And I'm just like, well, I'm glad y'all get a good kick out of it. But yeah, so that's how we want to do it. That way Jared and I can kind of wash our hands of it. And outside of the area, they don't know who the bands are. Right. They may have never heard any of them. So that's even better, because you're going to get fresh ears on your stuff. You're going to get true opinions out of stuff. And we're just going to go from there. So yeah, good stuff.
We're excited. Everybody in the comments I can see is excited just to have CPR Fest back. We feel the same way. It's just a great, showcase of music, especially when they incorporate the local talent like they're doing. So big thanks to CPR because they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to include that part of the stage, right, Kevin? It's probably more trouble. I'm not going to say more trouble than it's worth, but it's definitely not easy, right?
No, it's not easy, because you're actually setting up a whole nother second stage, a whole nother second production, all of that kind of stuff. And I will tell you this, originally, this wasn't part of the plan. So Kenny Vest and Matt McDonald from the Coliseum chatted about it and decided to go ahead and do it. Because it wasn't originally a part of the CPR Fest plan. They were just going to do CPR Fest with the main stage and maybe have one local opener maybe, or something like that. But nope. They wanted to do a local stage. They wanted to give 5 bands an opportunity. And like I said, 2 bands have already been selected and 3 bands are left to be selected. And we're going to do the selection process how we talked about it here on the show.
Well, I want to add one other thing that, everybody's, I'm sure, happy that they're adding this on the Homegrown Stage. I want to see, Kevin and I have been in the trenches now for a couple years here promoting the local scene. And now we've branched out and we've made friends, right, Kevin, with some bands that are not local, but now we feel like they're local because, we're on the internet now, and it's just, we're trying to grow our reach as much as we can. But I want to see everybody that sends in a submission, anybody that's part of the local music scene or supports this local music scene here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, to show up to that Homegrown Stage, even if your band's not selected, even if you didn't submit, right? And show CPR, show the people on stage, show the guy next to you or gal next to you that we do support the local music scene around here. And I want to see the turnout be something we can be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. This Homegrown Stage may turn back into, and I know it won't happen this year with the Crawfish Festival, but a few years back, the Crawfish Festival Thursday nights was local band nights. Yeah, local bands played at the Crawfish Festival. They don't do that anymore. So that may be an opportunity. If Matt McDonald sees a good turnout at the Homegrown Stage at CPR Fest, you never know. He may say, you know what, maybe we do bring in some local bands to play at the Crawfish Festival on Thursday nights again, or however he wants to do it. So there's a big opportunity for all of us, as not just Jared and myself with the sound, but the bands, and the opportunity to play the stage, to show people that, hey, there is support for the local bands around here, and possibly get some more stuff out of this that will benefit everybody.
Yep, that's right. That's right. So it could be a win-win for everybody. And, you know, Kevin and I are constantly trying to throw as many shows as we can throughout the year as well. So
yes, news coming. Now,
yeah,
I'll go ahead and tell them about February.
Yeah, go ahead.
So February 19th was originally a date that we had told everybody, hey, save that date. And well, you know what? You can unmark that date now.
Yeah.
We had to move it, unfortunately, because as we started seeing it happening, all of the bands that we were going after to headline this thing was starting to get picked up on tours, and all of that, all these 2022 tours that were starting in February just kind of threw everything, a monkey wrench into everything. But we think we may have it solved. And we'll know here within the next couple of days, and then we'll make an announcement on our next episode. But I think you're going to be really happy with what we may have pulled off here.
That's right. That's right. So stay tuned for that. We got our January dates coming sooner than later. So, you know, we're going to get at least 2 shows in this month with some killer guests. I hope y'all been enjoying the content. I really feel like we've had some good interviews, Kevin, with some, like the Chris Dawson one, man. Go back and check that out if you guys haven't seen it. You know, Any Given Sin. We've had some really talented bands on here. You know, and Kevin and I are really enjoying what we're doing too. And we enjoy the fact that y'all are tuning in and watching. So
absolutely.
And I'm not feeling good, Rory. I'm a trooper. Thank you very much.
So actually, two of the people that are going to be helping select the band have been on the show previously, Chris Dawson and Brian from MVK. So you can actually find both of those episodes and just check those guys out, knowing that they're, and Justin Reimer, like I said, the former guitarist of 12 Stones and Breaking Point, going to be the other one helping make the
selection. He needs to be a damn guest on the show too.
Yeah, you know what? He said he would, and it's been tough to tie him down. But
that's right. That's right. But yeah, Kevin, they can check out the interview playlist on Facebook or YouTube if they want to see the clips of these things, of the interviews that you're talking about. So
Andy, what's up?
Yeah.
So, but that was it. This isn't a full episode. There's no grudge match. There's no guests.
Nope.
It was just us telling you how the selection process is going to work. Thanking CPR for letting us be a part of the selection process. They're going to let us be a part of all the pre-parties. They're going to let us be a part of the after party. They're going to let us be out on the grounds at the Coliseum for the CPR Fest. So CPR is showing a lot of love to us, and we wanted to make sure we threw that back to them.
One last thing before we wrap this up. If you're watching this and you know of a band or a person or a solo artist, right? Well, it probably needs to be a band, right, Kevin? I would assume that.
Yeah.
If you know somebody who hasn't heard about this yet, tag them in the comments right now. And that way they won't miss out on this opportunity.
Absolutely. So thank you for tuning in, and we will shoot you our January dates here in just a few for the next episodes. And don't forget the selection. The bands will be announced February 6th on the Homegrown Show on CPR on Sunday night at 9:00 on February 6th. Jared and I will actually be doing that together. I was supposed to have him on the Homegrown Show like a year and a half ago.
I'm like, just been sitting back waiting.
We are out. You guys have a great night. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.